Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be doing my December book haul. Some of these books I received for Christmas, and then the other ones I purchased for myself. So we're going to start with the Christmas books first. These are ones that I have received from family and friends. The first book we have here is The Demon Prince of Momochi House Volume 10 by Aya Shoto. This is one I received from my friend David for Christmas. This follows Himari, who is a 16-year-old girl who ends up inheriting a house that is on the cusp of the human world and the spirit world, and she ends up having to be the guardian there. I have read all of the ones in the series so far except for this one, so I'm very excited to get to that. And the next one we have is Horimiya Volume 9. This is by Hiro and Daisuke Hagiwara. This was also given to me by David for Christmas. This is a series that follows Hori and Miyamura in school. They had one type of personality. She was sort of more popular, and he was a very quiet person in school. But they realize in the first volume, after they meet up outside of school, that they are very different than the personality they put on during school. So this is just a very cute high school story that I love. I've read all the ones up to this one so far. Haven't read this one yet, but I'm very excited to get to that. And the next one we have is Starflight by Melissa Landers. This is one that my sister gave me for Christmas. I had bought the second book of this in my Black Friday book outlet haul. And if you want to watch that, I will leave the link down below. But I had only bought the second book and not the first book. So she actually noticed that and decided that this would be a good book to give me. So far, I'm actually in the middle of this one. I'm on page 100 right now. And I'm very, very interested to keep going with this. It is one that follows Solara, who is sort of like an outcast and ends up on a ship with people who are probably running from the law. I don't know very much about it yet, but it's giving me very, very big Firefly Serenity vibes, and I'm loving it so far. I can't wait to see where this goes next. And then we have Zero Repeat Forever by G.S. Prendergast. This is another one my sister got me for Christmas. I don't remember too much about this one, except for I was very, very interested to read it. I do know it's another sci-fi book, which is probably my favorite genre right now. And from what I remember, I think there's some sort of either invasion or war, and the two main characters end up thrust together. And I'm very interested to read this as well. And then we have Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This is one that my mother gave me for Christmas. I've heard many, many good things about this book. I do not remember everything that it's about, but it is an LGBTQ romance, and I believe the main character is in the process of writing a book for a class or something like that, so I'm very excited to see about this one. And the next one we have is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Season 11, Volume 1, which is called The Spread of Their Evil. I can't get into too much about what this series is about, but the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show ended after Season 7, and so the Dark Horse Comics have been publishing all the seasons since then, so Season 8, 9, and 10, and now this is the first volume of Season 11. So they have been keeping the series and characters going with comics, and I've loved them so far. Everything has been really, really great. I just love the fact that they keep going with this series because it's one of my favorite things, which is probably why my mom decided to get me this for Christmas. The next book we have here is Shiver by Junji Ito. I received this for hitting a selling goal at my store. I then got to pick a book out, and this is what I chose. Junji Ito is quite well known for doing horror manga, and this one here, he himself got to pick 9 short stories to be included in this as some of his best horror manga, like best short stories. And I feel like this probably hit that very, very well. I love his art style in here. It's very clean, it's very detailed, very unsettling at certain points, which I feel always works with his type of stories that he tells. I did read this already, give it 5 out of 5 stars. If you love horror, especially horror manga, you have to read some of his books. If you don't, you probably won't like it, but this one I loved. It was great. Everything else I have here is things I have bought for myself. When I first started working last month, I picked up some books for myself near the very beginning of December, and I went a little bit crazy with it. A lot of these are manga because I had been not buying manga for myself when I didn't have a job because I love them. They're great, but they're a little bit overpriced for how quick it takes me to read it. But once I got a job, I needed to have them on my shelf, so I have quite a bit here, so we're gonna get started. The first one I have here is Kiss Him Not Me, Volume 12. This is by Junko. This is a series that I can see people having some issues with. It can be problematic, and the parts that were problematic I didn't like as well, but I did like the series overall. This series follows a girl who loves anime and shipping male characters with other male characters, and one day she finds herself the object of attention between 4 other guys, and she doesn't quite know what to do with that, so that's where the title comes from, is from her shipping the other guys. I do still really like this series, and I like where it has gone, but I can see where it might not be everybody's favorite. Next, we have Dream and Sun Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. This is by Ichigo Takano. This is the same author who wrote Orange, which I read last year, absolutely loved, could not get enough of it, was so sad when it ended. And this one I love almost just as much. I've given all of these 5 stars so far. It was great. This follows a girl who, after her mother dies, her father eventually ends up getting remarried and has a new baby with his new wife, and she feels sort of left out, so she ends up moving out of her house and into a house with these 3 guys here, and sort of has to do a soul-searching thing and figure out what does she want from life, what is she dreaming for. I mean, it obviously has some anime tropes and cliches in it, but it's super cute. I love, love, love Ichigo Takano's art style. It's amazing. I love it so much, and I can't wait for the 5th one to come out for this. And then we have Princess Jellyfish, Volume 5 and Volume 6. This is by Akiko Higashimura. This is one that I read, or at least started reading, years ago, back before it actually had an English translation version. I was reading some of those ones on the sites that were not very good, but I love this one so, so much. It's a very interesting manga series. It follows Tsukimi, who has a sort of obsession with jellyfish, which is Princess Jellyfish, but she lives with other girls who are sort of geek-like. They have very, very specific interests, like super specific interests. And one day she ends up going to a pet shop and meets a fashionable woman, which is like, I guess, her worst fear. And they end up being friends. There's lots of other things that are in here. That's just the very bare bones of it. And you really have to read it to get it. I can't give you too much away, but I love this series so much. There's so much just cool stuff in here. It's very, very good characters. I just love it so much. And again, art style with manga is one of my biggest things that I need to be to my taste. If it's a good manga and it has a weird art style, I'm okay with it. But if I can find one that has an amazing art style, I'm almost guaranteed to pick it up before I even know what it's about. It's bad, but I do it. And then we have Parasite Volume 2 by Hitoshi Iwaki. This is a very interesting manga series. It's about alien parasites that have come down, and in order for them to survive, they sort of have to kill a human and become their head. However, for our main character, Shin, the parasite came down and ended up in his hand instead. It is a horror manga, not quite up to the Junji Ito ones, but it is still very interesting. There's lots of violence, lots of that kind of stuff in there. I did give this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I will probably continue with the series. I just don't quite know where it's going. And next we have Behind the Scenes Volume 4. This is by Bisco Hattori, who is the same author as the Ouran High School Host Club mangas. This one here is great. It follows a student who goes to college and ends up in an art club where they do art projects for like other college groups, so like filming and plays and that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly how else to describe it because a lot of it is character. It's these characters and their relationships and their backstories all in this art club setting. I loved Ouran High School Host Club, and as soon as I saw this one, I had to pick it up. I've read the first 3, haven't read this one yet, but I have not been disappointed so far. And then we have Anonymous Noise Volume 4 and Volume 5. This is by Ryoko Fukuyama. This is where you know I get bad, especially with manga. I bought Volumes 4 and Volume 5, and I have not read the first 3 volumes I have. I justify it in my mind by thinking, mangas don't take me very long to read. I would love to have a whole bunch of them at once so I can read them all at once and not forget it in between manga volumes. And I usually do that. However, 5 volumes that I haven't read yet is probably not the best idea. I don't even really remember what this is supposed to be about, except for the fact that it's a girl who had a couple friends that moved away, and there is some sort of either music or band element to it. I'm very, very interested to read it, and now that I have 5 volumes, I should probably do that soon. And then we have Queen's Quality, Volume 1 and Volume 2. This is by Kyosuke Motomi. This one here is the sequel series to QQ Sweeper. So QQ Sweeper I read last year, absolutely loved it, and I was devastated to realize that there was only 3 books in that series. And then as I looked up, I realized that they were going to be releasing Queen's Quality, which is the sequel series, and these 2 came out this year. The second one just came out at the beginning of December, so this one has been out for a little while. I have not read them yet, mostly because I needed to pick them up, but I'm very excited for this one. I don't know everything about this series, and I don't want to even look it up to spoil myself, but QQ Sweeper followed a girl who was in high school who ended up being an apprentice as a sweeper, where they go into this sort of realm and sweep out bad spirits and sort of like the bad feelings and everything. And it was very, very good. I loved the supernatural element. I loved the characterization of the characters, and so I'm very, very excited to continue on with Queen's Quality. And then next we have The Silver Mask by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. This is the 4th book in the Magisterium series. I have not read this one yet, and I don't want to give too many details because I don't want to spoil you for the other books. These authors seem to be the queens of plot twists with these books, and so I'm very, very excited to read this one. This series follows Cal as he goes to the Magisterium, which is a magic school, but his father did not want him to go in the first place, and so there are mysteries surrounding both him and why the school was something his father didn't want him to go to. This is a middle grade series, but I fell in love with it from the first book, and I can't wait to pick up this one. And then we have Serenity, No Power in the Verse. This is similar to the Buffy series. Firefly was a TV show that was on for 1 season. I was devastated when it was over, even though it had been over for so long when I first started watching it. They did get a movie called Serenity, and then it got resurrected into these comics. And this one is the newest one, called No Power in the Verse. I have absolutely no idea what it's about. I know it's a continuation of the comics. I saw Serenity and bought it. Literally saw it, knew it was the new one, bought it. That's it. I have no idea what it's about, but I am so excited to read this. Okay, and these last 5 books I have here were from a book outlet order. A book outlet order I placed about a week or 2 after my Black Friday order. The first one we have is Made for You by Melissa Marr. This one here is about our main character, Eva, who apparently when she touches someone can see their death. So she has premonitions about their death. I have seen this sort of plot device used in an adult series, and it was amazing. I loved it so much, and I'm actually very, very interested and excited to see exactly how Melissa Marr is going to pull this off in a young adult series. Also, this is the new cover. The hardcover was a different one, but I love this. It's very, very beautiful. And then we have The Exile by C.T. Adams. I have no idea what this is about. I know there's supposed to be like witches and fae and magic in here. But it was book outlet, it was cheap, and it seemed right up my alley. And then we have We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I just finished his newest book, At the Edge of the Universe. Absolutely loved it, 5 out of 5 stars, and because I was reading that one, I knew I needed something else by him, and so this is one that I've heard many great things about. It's a sci-fi, has some sort of alien element. I don't know anything else, don't want to, I just want to read it. And then we have Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Sean and McGuire. This is the second book in the Wayward Children series. I have not read the first still, but it does deal with children who have found their way into magical worlds. I decided I had to pick up the second book when I saw it on Book Outlet. These books are very short, and so I didn't want to have to just read one book and wait for the second one. So as soon as I saw this one on there, I knew I needed to buy it so I could read them both at once. I'm very, very interested to get into these. I've heard so many great things, and I love the concept, so I'm very excited to read these one right after the other. And then the last book I have here is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. This is one that is a contemporary romance where our main character, Desi, is a well-achieving student who has decided to try and get a boyfriend by using tips and techniques that she sort of picked up from K-dramas. I love K-dramas. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. Also, I had discussed in, I believe it was my Book Outlet video, that I have a hard time finding books with Asian main characters or romance interests. And from the cover, it looks like this is an Asian main character, and I am so excited to see about this one. It's one of my most anticipated reads right now. So that is my book haul. I believe that was 25 books. Like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I will be posting videos every Monday for you. If you have any suggestions on what you would like to see, please leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Kitty? You want to say hi? Mystery?